Hello everyone and welcome for a new Modern City Timelapse episode. In this episode, I will continue developing the city with an entirely new building style. Inspired by the Haussmannian style from 19th century Paris, these buildings will complement this one I built in the last episode. Let's start building. Like the rest of the series, all the buildings are constructed in a time-lapse so you can see the entire building process. I've tried adding some shaders in this video for the first time, but I'm not entirely convinced by the result. Let me know in the comments if you prefer it with or without shaders, and if you know of a shader pack that doesn't distort the classic Minecraft look. For these buildings, I focused on adding more details than usual, drawing inspiration from real photos of Parisian architecture to achieve the best possible look. Each time I build in a new style, I use it for the entire block to keep the city as realistic as possible. As a French guy, most of my inspiration comes from French buildings, or at least from Central European ones. If you think I should draw inspiration from another country's style, don't hesitate to let me know. After adding a house to the fountain square and another behind it, it was time to utilize the space behind City Hall. I decided to create a larger square next to the river that surrounds the center of the city. You will see that from this point in the video, I will be using color gradients for the new buildings. I took advantage of this new square to create an entirely new quay along the riverbank. For some time now, I have also been constructing certain buildings diagonally to add a whole new level of depth and beauty to the new neighborhoods. This is how this new building was created, still in the Haussmannian style. As with this new building, I mostly keep the same construction method for the new buildings. After defining a style and choosing a location to fill at the beginning of the episode, I continue to stick to that style and location, gradually evolving the design with the goal of perfecting it. I believe this is the perfect way to create a realistic city without getting scattered in all directions during the construction process. It also always looks better to first complete a section of the building's wall instead of constructing everything only partially. I take this moment in the video to remind you to like it if you enjoyed it and to subscribe if you want to see my future videos. Thank you already for all the support you have given me. The Modern City Timelapse series is currently my biggest series on the channel, so don't hesitate to check out the other episodes. They are silent time-lapses showcasing the city's progress step by step. I also create short videos for each new building I'm making in this series. Additionally, every 10 episodes, a giant time-lapse from the start will be released on my channel. So, go watch episode 10 if you haven't seen it yet. The next build to construct is a bridge. I noticed the previous one was a bit far from this neighborhood, so I created a new one. I drew inspiration from old stone bridges to design this one. I then created a little path near the water that leads around City Hall and connects to the buildings from the last episode. Next, I decided to develop the back of the buildings in the fountain square from the last episode to create a thoroughfare and continue expanding the neighborhood. Finally, I added a new building that divides the street into two new alleys. For this one, I was heavily inspired by another building that I liked when I constructed it at the beginning of the episode. I finished by landscaping the new streets and adding more vegetation to create a more realistic view of it. And now, let me introduce the most impressive monument of this episode. I've always loved building castles in Minecraft, and I have long wondered how to add one to my Modern City Timelapse series without ruining the landscape. So, I decided on a castle above the water, inspired by the French Château de Chenonceau. I found the perfect spot for a large diagonal bridge connecting both banks, and when I thought of the Château de Chenonceau, I knew it would fit perfectly in this new neighborhood. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments about the castle and its location. I always build on the fly without any plans, so during construction, you will sometimes see an initial version before I tear it down and reconstruct it in a different way. I hope this approach doesn't ruin the viewer's experience, but I find it much more natural to do. I started the construction with the central keep. It's based on two stone mixed pillars over the river, while the rest of the three sections are built with a white gradient. Little towers can be found on each corner. For the roof, I chose a dark color palette. I then continued the castle by constructing 3 new stone pillars at regular intervals. On top of them, I installed a long building, using the same color palette as the rest of the castle. I tried to elevate the arches as much as possible to allow small boats to pass through. For this construction, I've provided both a shader and a no-shader version, so you can easily let me know which one you prefer. I'm also interested in your thoughts on whether you prefer day-night cycle sequences or no day-night cycles. To conclude this episode, I wanted to fully integrate the castle into the neighborhood. I continued the quay up to the castle and added roads between the castle and the football stadium. I also added a tower next to the bridge to complete the castle construction. Although this tower is the same height as the surrounding buildings, it adds a beautiful perspective to the castle. As I mentioned before, I really enjoy progressively improving my builds within the same neighborhood, but I also like to create new structures while respecting the overall aesthetic to add more visual interest. This is why I built this pink building with a small tower in front, introducing a new color and architectural element. I then wanted to create the entire road linking the bridge and the football stadium, aiming to build a realistic roadway adorned with colorful monuments. This road was intended to serve as a stylistic connection between today's neighborhood and the next one. I also tried to use the widest variety of colors and blocks that Minecraft offers, taking advantage of every opportunity that the vanilla creative game provides to players. I tend to reuse the same block palettes, so this exercise is very interesting for me. I'll let you enjoy the completion of this street's construction with music, and we'll meet back right after. Here we are, it's already the end of the episode. To finish on a high note, I'll let you enjoy a little cinematic tour of the various constructions I created during this episode. Bye everyone. Thank you so much for watching.